ochi pocharek, sue oko, malokyo, mal de ojo, the evil eye. The talents of folk witches have for centuries been called upon to diagnose and remove this bane of human existence. It's a concept that surpasses time, with the folk rituals being passed generation to generation via oral tradition. It's a spiritual enigma that unites us all cross-culturally. Recorded as far back as the civilizations of Mesopotamia nearly 5,000 years ago, scribed onto clay tablets in cuneiform. Some say it may have existed as early as the Paleolithic age. What exactly is the evil eye, and how do you come down with it? And what if your life or birth circumstances conspire against you to become one whose glance initiates it? But most importantly, how do we cure and prevent this infliction? The evil eye is a curse, but unlike intentional curses, where intentional magic is employed and workings are done, this one happens, sometimes even unbeknownst to the sender, as a result of envy or a malevolent glare. Imagine you share a success with a less than supportive colleague. You accidentally cut someone off in traffic. You have something, a house, a lover, that someone else desires. This is how evil eye happens. Come with me on this video journey as we explore 7 folk traditions revolving around the evil eye. We begin with El Baño de las Siete Hierbas, the bath of the 7 herbs, a folk tradition taught to me by my Colombian sister-in-law. The bath of the 7 herbs is done preferably during a waning moon, on a Monday, Tuesday, or a Saturday for maximum effect. But if the need calls, you can start it at any time. It involves the assistance of 7 amaracas, bitter herbs, rue, mugwort, thyme, sage, and pine, all specifically selected for their spiritual ability to cleanse heavy negativity. A 7-day prayer candle is lit daily and prayers of attention are made for cleansing to the saints. 7 days to the date you begin, you boil the dulces, the sweet herbs. Tarragon, citronella, malva, which I understand is part of the mallow family, mountain stickleaf, and diosma. Again, you wash first with a new piece of el jabón rey, the king of soap, and rinse in the sweet herb bath. And yes, this can be done in the shower too. Many a folk witch have looked to their tarot for guidance in their protection rituals against the evil eye. The Hierophant, the High Priestess, and the Star are 3 that I've chosen here. The Hierophant is a respected authority figure, lending protection against domineering forces in your life. The Star represents protection coming from the spirit world and guidance as we work towards our goals. The High Priestess is the Hierophant's peer. Sitting between pillars of knowledge, she guards wisdom and intellect and protects against psychic attacks. Likewise, you might use cards from the Suit of Cups to protect you from emotional attacks, swords to defend against criticism and judgmental people, coins or pentacles to safeguard your finances, and wands to lend protection to your creative efforts. Baba once said, "There's nothing a few good plants can't cure." In this case, I think she meant herbs and spices. And while her words and ways were of the farmer and field folk, they were always effective and timely. Here we'll use her kitchen magic, a recipe for protection against the evil eye, and a little luck to bring in. We'll combine cinnamon, parsley, and mint in our kitchen cauldron, bringing it to a boil, while thanking the plant spirits and our ancestors for blessing this working. Once cooled, we'll wash the windows to prevent jealous passerbys from looking into our homes enviously. Anoint the 4 cauldron walls and any doors leading into the home. Finally, with a few drops of honey to sweeten our labor, we'll take the magic within us as an afternoon tea. Slavs believed that not only could one fall victim to the ills of the evil eye, but worse yet was to be one predisposed as an infant to carry the eye, which would perform the cursing. This was said to be the fate of infants forcibly weaned early from their mother's breast. To cure such fate, the local folk practitioner was called upon to perform a wax casting. To engage this magic, wax from a black or beeswax candle is dripped slowly in a circular motion into a bowl of blessed or holy water. If you have a white towel on which to place the bowl, and the bowl can be metal, even better. A photo of the child or the adult should be placed near the saints' icons of the home and candles lit before each. Any number of prayers should be recited. As the wax is dripped into the water, becoming smooth and stiffer, the evil eye shall recede. Another effective ritual to remove the evil eye from a child is the candle cleansing ritual. 5 ingredients are carefully selected to represent each of the elements: essential oils for air, and nettles or wormwood decoction blended with water, salt and candles for fire, earth and clay, and shavings from a birch or aspen tree for spirit. Each ingredient is passed through the candle flame 3 times. The clay is then mixed with the salt and tree shavings. The child is cleansed by rubbing the mixture over their body and rinsed clean with the warm bath water of the herbs and oils. Heat of flame, swiftness of water, vitality of earth, spirit of tree. Balance these dark forces. Leave this body clean. Salt, aspen, herbs, clay, fire. Drive out this evil eye. The cleanses in the divination that follows are the oldest and best known folk remedies for diagnosing, and in the Slavic tradition, cleansing the evil eye. It's a beautiful example of a practice which crosses cultures. Place saintly images in a triangle. The person in question is placed either sitting or standing in the center, and then take the egg in your right hand. You begin to make ample circles in a clockwise direction, moving down the person's arms. Again, then to the left side, to the back, to the front, until you've completed all the extremities in the entire body. During the session, prayers and intentions for cleansing are said. Watch for the egg to begin to feel heavier. If it does, you're going to need a second one. And for each egg, it should be cracked in a separate glass filled with holy blessed water. But be careful not to break the yolks. We'll need those later for the divination. Because based on the condition of the yolks, no strings, our cleansing was successful. Murky strings, we might need to repeat it. Should the egg yolk be dark or spotted, this calls for an even stronger ritual. After the ritual, the eggs and the water should be dumped under a tree as far away from the home as possible. Bury ashes over it and return home without looking back. Slejokos makuye hupe, slijazik dip tak budje. An evil puppy eye is stupid, an evil tongue tip, so it will be. Probably my favorite of all the forms of ridding one of evil eye is purification with wooden matches. Probably because that was the one that was Baba's go-to, and one of the first that she taught me. Most modern matches are made from the aspen tree, long considered a weapon against evil. Of old, the aspen was a tree of heroes whose crown of trembling leaves give power to visit the underworld and also safely return. Sulfur used on the tips of wooden matches is also a substance used to ward off evil spirits. Okay, so let's get started. For purification of evil eye using wooden matches, we need 7 or 9 matches. Remember that in Slavic folk magic, odd numbers are for the living, but more on that in a later video. Perform the ritual at noon if possible, preferably after the full moon during its waning phase. Just before beginning, we pray the Otse Nash, the Our Father. Feel free to substitute an incantation involving the aid of your spirit guides, ancestors, or guardians if this better suits your practice. Light the first match from the candle. From there, you'll light each consecutive match from the other, so as to only transfer your energy to any given match at a time. Each match must come from a different box to also prevent or keep their energy clean from one another. The presence or absence of evil eye can be judged by the number of matches that sync. 1 to 2 indicates that the eye is weak, and this ritual should be enough to remove it. 3 to 5, the insult is strong, and you should repeat the ritual at least 3 times. If all matches float, you're free from harm. Ideally, this ritual should be conducted at the intersection of 2 pathways to prevent the devil's interference. But I can't imagine how that might play out where I live in a busy suburb. But if you live where you have a forest or a private space, all the better. When you're finished and are sure you're cleansed, drink from the 4 sides of the glass. Oh, please be careful not to swallow any burnt matches. I believe in all that is goodly and comes from the beyond. Begone, evil word, dark eye, gray scald. As this water is absorbed into the ground, so shall you leave this body. Pour out the remaining water and leave without looking back. Much can be said for the use of varying tones of red in witchcraft. Saturated reds are the color of choice for protection in Slavic folk magic. It represents the strength of blood, the flame of fire, the brightness of the sun, and the rage of lightning. For this reason, it's often employed in protective embroidery and woven into cloaking garments. Incorporating saturated reds into your practice, regular spiritual cleanses, and protection rituals are but a few ways to keep evil eye at bay. There are many more ways to shield yourself in home and protection, but for today, this is where our journey ends. Thank you so much for accompanying me today on what I hope will be the first of many journeys together. Until we see each other again, do skore hovidenia. Happy witching!